Ho ho buddies, welcome to Borderline Games. I'm Gareth and today we're playing Chaos Head. Last time on the A Disease That Leads to Slaughter route, Koza P has slaughtered all of her classmates on the rooftop. Or at least that's what she's led to believe, and that's what Takumi now has seen in a weird delusion. We found Koza P covered in blood in the changing rooms, and then we had a quick delusion of Koza P slaughtering everybody. Takumi wants Koza P to be essentially a fun protection for him against Shogun and his underlings. But it turns out that Koza P is very much in need of sheltering and protecting herself. Let's carry on. I then snapped back to myself, shocked. What the hell was that? That had definitely been the school rooftop. What were all those other images? Had they been just a delusion? But they'd been different from how my delusions usually were. Maybe it hadn't been my delusion, but Koza P's. I felt like Senna had said something about how Gigglemaniacs can make other people see their negative delusions, so maybe that was what had happened. But placing that aside for now, Koza P's blood-stained body clung to me. The blood on her was still wet. There were no signs that she'd been hurt. She certainly wasn't acting like she had been. Therefore, the blood wasn't hers. I was trying my absolute hardest to conjure up an explanation for the amount of blood she was bathed in. There was nothing normal about this. It was utterly insane. Whose blood was this? Koza P. Whose blood is this?
It's from the baddies who were being bullies to me.
Koza P hung her head. She gently detached from me, then looked away as if she was in trouble. She raised her index finger to her lips. To me it looked like she was sulking about something. Or like she was lapping up the blood on her finger. Gross. Isn't that someone else's blood?
Yeah, it's someone else's blood.
A feeling of dread surged up within me. Koza P, if that really is the case, you went way, way too far, didn't you? The school bell rang loudly, telling us homeroom had started. There wasn't a single sign of any students around us. They'd already gone to class. And so I made up my mind and began to head straight for the classroom. Trying my best not to get caught, I stealthily peeked in from the window. What? And what I saw left me shocked. Homeroom had already started, with the teacher standing at the front of the room. And just like I'd seen before, not a single girl was present inside the classroom. No way. I had to be sure. I had to be absolutely sure that it had all just been a delusion. We're going to the rooftop. I took off for the roof, then flung open the door leading to it. The first thing to hit me was the somber blue sky. And the next was nothing but pure crimson. A literal sea of blood. When hit with the remains of that horrifying scene, the physiological revulsion, the utter repulsiveness, and the overpowering stench, it all pulled together, and I could no longer keep the contents of my stomach from emptying across the concrete.
Takumi-san, you're Koza P's friend, aren't you?
I jumped. When I turned around, Koza P was standing right in front of me. Tears were welling up in the corner of her eyes. Still soaked in blood. Clean it off. She turned to me. She smiled an innocent smile. Ah! I couldn't help but run away. I was afraid of Koza P. For smiling in that situation. For killing them so brutally. I couldn't comprehend it. The people that had been there weren't people anymore. They were in pieces. And she'd done that to them. The scene on the rooftop had been burned into my mind, and refused to leave. It repeated endlessly, looping over and over again in my head, and each time it did, I was hit with the most intense feeling of nausea. I lost count of how many times I'd dry heaved. I ran all around the school with no real destination in mind. Homeroom had already started, so there was no one in the halls. Kozapi wasn't following me. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Was running away the smart thing to do, or should I have stayed with her? If Kozapi saw me as an enemy because I'd run away, would I be fucked? If she'd started thinking of me as an enemy, would she tear me to pieces like she had those girls on the rooftop? Oh god, no, please no. But if that was true, what should I have done? Even if I went back to Kozapi now, I'd had no idea what to do or say. I just kept on running and running, almost tripping every couple seconds. The very next corner I went around, I very nearly ran right into two people. It was Masumi-kun, together with one of the DQNs from my class, who'd made fun of me earlier. He looked at me with clear unease, while the DQN stepped in front of me, blocking my path. The DQN had the most malicious grin on his face. Oh, what's up, Esper? Hey, I'm curious about your powers. You in the mood to give me a little demonstration? I bit my lip. I didn't make eye contact. If I did, I knew I'd get punched right then and there. The DQN made no moves to take out his cell phone. If he did, however, I very well might have lost it and killed him, just like Kozapi had with those girls. Seems like a few girls from our class decided to ditch. They haven't come back, so we're out on the prowl looking for them. But really, don't you think this shit's a total waste of time? Masumi here is worried about Monako or whatever, but she's the bitch who decided to ditch us. You agree with me, don't you, Esper? I didn't respond, and as a result a sharp pain ran through me as he kicked me in the hip. Don't ignore me, bitch! Knock it off! The second Masumi-kun spoke up, the DQN stopped dead in his tracks. Taku, have you seen Monako? She was here before the bell went off. I've been calling and texting her, but she's not responding. Yeah, she's upstairs. She's been cut into 100 pieces. I couldn't tell him. I couldn't tell him about the tragedy that had happened on the rooftop. I had no idea who Monako was, but I assumed she was Masumi-kun's girlfriend. Could she have been among the tattered pieces of meat scattered across the rooftop? And what about Rimi? Had Kozapi killed her too? She shouldn't have. Rimi had been missing for a while, and she hadn't been at school either. Really, I couldn't believe I was still worrying about her after everything that had happened. What the hell was I even expecting her to do? She was never going to come back anyway, so what was even the point? Esper? Why is there blood on your clothes? A shudder ran through me. It was blood from Kozapi. It was blood from when Kozapi had clung to me. It had transferred from her onto me, and now I was fully covered from the edge of my shirt. Masumi-kun's eyes widened, and he gasped. Taku, what the hell happened? Nothing. The second that left my mouth, I whipped around and ran away as fast as I could. I heard a voice calling after me, but I ignored it. I bolted down the stairs. But in my chaotic frenzy, I lost my footing and tumbled all the way down to the landing. As I lay there on the ground, I lost all will to stand back up again. Would I ever be able to find peace again? Why did all these insane, horrific things keep happening to me one after the other? Taku! A voice called my name. Oh. Is that Rimi? I only knew a single girl that called me that. I slowly, timidly looked up and saw a hand stretched out before me. There she is. What's going on? I've never seen you in such a hurry. Does it hurt anywhere? It was Rimi. Rimi was here. Rimi, I felt tears starting to well up. Not wanting to embarrass myself, I fought them back and took the hand she was offering to me. It was so very warm. Rimi pulled me to my feet. Are you sure you're okay? It was a pretty bad fall. She brushed off my clothes, not leaving a single spot on me untouched. Remy, where were you? Where had she been all this time? Why hadn't she contacted me? She'd said she'd protect me. Oh, me. I may or may not have been tardy today. That didn't answer my question. But when I saw that confused, airheaded smile of hers, my fear ever so slightly subsided. That smile had saved my life many times before. And when I saw it, I no longer had any need to ask her where she'd been, or what she'd been doing. I didn't need to ask her why she hadn't contacted me. Remy had come back to me, and everything would be okay now. No matter what enemy I might come to face, Remy would protect me. Right? Or would she? Would she truly protect me? Had Kozupi really just so happened to not kill Remy? A flicker of doubt appeared in the corner of my mind. It rose up in me like a passing thought. She had been absent for all this time, but she just so happened to come back today. And then she just so happened to be late to school on the day that she just so happened to come back. And then Kozupi just so happened to commit murder on the same day Remy had just so happened to come in late. Suspicious. No. Don't think about it. Stay positive. I rubbed my temples with my fingers, trying to calm myself down. You don't look so hot. Here. Let me take you to the nurse's office. You can rest up a bit in there. As she said that, Remy pulled me by my hand. Come on. Let's go. Did Remy not know about the tragedy that had happened on the rooftop? But wasn't that only natural? She had said that she'd been tardy today. And the fact that she didn't dare ask about the blood on my clothes was just her being considerate to me. It had to be. Remy attempted to pull my reluctant self down the stairs, but I planted my feet right before the entrance. Taku? She kept on trying to pull me along, pretty forcefully too, but I gently shook her hand off. Turning left in this hallway would bring us to the staff room, and after that, the school nurse's office. From there, if we kept going straight and exited at the end of the hall, we'd end up at the sports courts outside, after which would be the school gate. I didn't want to see anyone today if I could help it. I didn't even want to walk through the school. Or talk through the school, I guess. Someone was going to find that slaughter up on the rooftop at any moment. And when they did, a huge panic would break out. I'd probably end up being the prime suspect since my clothes were caked with blood and all. That was why I wanted to get away from the school as soon as possible. I should just avoid the nurse's office and go straight to the entrance. I planned to tell Remy about the rooftop and Kozupi, but when I turned around... Huh? Ah. Remy was holding something sharp and pointed. No, was that a D-sword? It looked like a pair of steel wings. And the tips of the wings were pointed straight at me. Remy was about to stab me in the back any moment now. Our eyes met. Remy's eyes were filled with grief. She was the first to break eye contact. I'm sorry. Softly murmuring those few words, she brandished her sword. She was about to kill me. Remy was about to kill me. I lost control. The second she was about to swing, I gripped her wrist to protect myself. I was a lazy piece of shit and I practically never exercised, yet I still had enough strength to overpower her. Ugh. But why? Why, goddammit? This bitch. In the end, had Remy just been another enemy? Had she been lying to me the whole time? Just like Yua had back then? Was she just trying to fuck me over too? Was Remy also one of Shogun's underlings? And if she was his underling, did that mean that she'd been behind New Gen the entire time and I'd been right from the very start? Why are you doing this? I'm sorry, but you have to disappear, Taku. That decided it. There was no misunderstanding here. Remy really was my enemy. This was her true nature. All that shit about protecting me had been nothing but a lie. You're lying. Nothing but a goddamn liar! I'm sorry for lying to you. But please, Taku, disappear. Cut the shit. Cut the bullshit. You just want me to disappear? All I can think about is how I trusted you more than anything. About how I thought I could depend on you no matter what. How can you stab people in the back like it's nothing? You fucking demon girl. Taku, I'm sorry. Sorry isn't enough. Who the fuck do you think you are? I realised I was crying. A betrayal like this, I couldn't. The pure rage and frustration I was feeling right now. What I'd felt with Yua didn't even come close. Remy had shit all over all the feelings I'd had for her. Oh, she's shit all over over the feelings, I see. I'll never forgive you. 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 I'm gonna kill you. I'll never forgive you. I'm gonna kill you. I'll never forgive you. I'll never forgive you. I'm gonna kill you. Gripping her wrist even tighter, Remy's expression contorted in agony, but the pain I felt was far worse. You tore my heart to fucking shreds. I'll never forgive you. I'll never fucking forgive you. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna fucking... Kozupi will kill her. Kozupi will kill her. It happened in an instant. Right before my very eyes, Remy's figure vanished. Her body was blown to the side, toward the shoe lockers, and slammed right into them. She'd been done for the moment she'd hit the metal lockers, obliterated them in the process. A thick cloud of dust enveloped the room. At first I'd no idea what the hell had happened. Oh, okay. Oh, it was Kozupi saying it in the third person.
Takumi-chan's heart was crying out, and Kozupi heard it.
Right before me, brandishing her D-sword, was Kozupi. Her expression was incredibly pained. Sweat shone on her forehead, and yet even despite those things, she still forced herself to smile at me.
Stuff like, I'm gonna kill you, and I'll never forgive you. So, Kozupi came and killed her for you.
Her inner voice threw all of that at me.
You killed her.
Oh, hang on, that's me. You killed her. You really killed her. Unable to believe what I'd just seen, I approached the demolished shoe lockers. The D-sword that had been used, that used to be Remy's. The D-sword that had been used to be Remy's brushed against the tip of my shoe. Hang on. The D-sword that had used to be. Okay, there's too many words. The D-sword that used to be Remy's brushed against the tip of my shoe. It was lying on the floor, deprived of its owner. Liquid slowly pooled beneath the sword. Blood. Whose blood was it? I didn't have to think long to know. Eventually, the D-sword by my feet was enveloped by countless black particles and vanished into the air. Remy was dead. Just like that. I didn't have the slightest urge to confirm it. Sadness washed over me, and at the same time I was left with an inescapable sense of regret. I'd killed my own emotions deep down. Had my feelings numbed me to everything? Or had I numbed my feelings to everything? It didn't matter anymore. At least the tears had stopped falling. They crashed around me. Kozupi, save me. Right now, Kozupi was the only one I could depend on. And I couldn't really depend on her. Even though Remy had betrayed me, I still wanted someone to believe in. Or maybe I just wanted someone I could be with, Someone who would just accept me. All that stuff about wanting to be protected, it was all just an excuse. I didn't want to be alone. Even if she might betray me, even if I had been betrayed already, I didn't want to be alone. I couldn't bear all of this awful bullshit on my own. If I was on my own, I guarantee I would cease to be me. I would just up and disappear. I approached Kozabi, desperate for someone to cling to. When I looked at her, what I saw was how terribly sad she looked. Oh my god. Was how terribly sad she looked. The sheer pain on her face. Her smile had long since disappeared. I made up my mind and embraced her tiny shoulders. She didn't fight it.
But Takumi-san ran away from Kozabi before.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. But please, save me.
Takumi-san, are you Kozabi's friend?
Who could say how many people Kozabi had already killed? Who could say what would happen if the police caught us? Knowing all that, would it really turn out okay if the two of us stayed together? I asked myself such a question, but it didn't take long for me to find my answer. Right now, I was together with Kozabi, and as long as we stayed together, it would all turn out okay. We had bigger enemies than the police, enemies that were too dangerous to face alone. I need you, Kozabi. I want to be with you.
Takumi-san, you're a really super selfish person.
Upon saying that, she wrapped her arms around my back. With the little strength she had left, she held me in return.
Well, since Takumi-san said he needed Kozabi, Kozabi will do her bestest and give all the protection Kozabi has.
Hey, it's like what that really, who is this? It's not Takumi.
Hey, it's like what that really dirty old guy said before. You don't need to hold back. Negative emotions are not something to be reprodated. That's why when anyone's bees a bully to Kozabi, Kozabi will kill him. And that goes for anyone who's been a bully to Takumi-san too.
Feelings both cold to the touch and warm as the sun found their way from her to me. Feelings inside her that contradicted. Madness. Kindness. Whether it was the same way her inner voice could reach me, or it was all in my head, I didn't know. Right as that thought drifted through my mind, a girl's scream echoed throughout the school's ground. The ground school. The school grounds. It had come from the top of the building. Uh-oh. Had she found the slaughter on the rooftop? We had to run. Kozabi, if we stay here, the police will catch us. For some reason, the moment I let go of her body, she immediately sank to the ground. What's wrong?
Kozabi's so tired. Kozabi's body is super heavy. Hey, Takumi-san. In Kozabi's heart, so many delusions are showing up. Blackiest black delusions. It's like Kozabi's being crushed to bits.
Blackiest black delusions, what do you mean? Regardless of what she meant, staying here wasn't an option. With Rimi's corpse lying here, anyone who spotted us would find out exactly what we'd done. So without getting an answer from her, I lent Kozabi my shoulder and the two of us began to leave the school. We walked through the halls. As nice as it would have been to just leave, we were both covered in blood. Kozabi couldn't walk in her current state and had a feeling that if we went outside, we'd get hit with the cops all waiting for us out there cliché. Like in Terminator 3. It was probably best to just hide out somewhere. Even one of the empty classrooms would probably work. The atmosphere was tense. The scream earlier had kick-started a slowly groaning commotion inside the school. Teachers quickly ran by us in a hurry. Students left their classrooms ignoring that homeroom was still in session, and cautiously peering around the school to try and see what had happened. Shit, there were a lot of people. Maybe it would have been better to just leave after all. I had to hide somewhere. Somewhere like... The shutters. There it was again. That noise again. Stop it, just stop it. I was going to go fucking insane. A few students spotted me from the distance. And not just students, but a few teachers too. Every single one of them had their cell phones out and were aiming them at us. And for some odd reason, they were all holding mirrors in their other hands. Coupled with the black wrath, an infernal bloodlust sprouted inside my head. Something within me was about to snap.
Koshipi's gonna kill you.
Perhaps emboldened by my bloodlust, Koshipi's heart reeked of its own hunger for blood.
Koshipi's gonna kill you. Koshipi's gonna kill you. Koshipi's gonna kill you. Koshipi's gonna kill you.
Koshipi was reacting to the mirrors. Despite the fact that she was having so much trouble walking, she raised her D-sword overhead anyway. Koshipi, don't do it! Clutching her petite frame, I tried to hold her back.
Koshipi's gonna kill you!
But I couldn't do it. Koshipi's body freed itself from me with tremendous force. Pulled along by her sword, Koshipi charged the group holding mirrors. Her legs tangled with one another. She nearly slipped and fell. And yet she still managed to move forward and swung her enormous D-sword.
Die! Die! Die!
With a single swing, she'd claimed about 4 human lives. Ah, Koshipi. It was a staggering storm of destruction and brutality. Her movements and posture were like a novice's. If she leaned back any further, she'd fall over, and yet her sword's trajectory was both abnormally accurate and fast. Her aim was precise as she claimed each and every one of their lives with a single blow each. Almost like she wasn't the one swinging the sword. The sword was the one swinging her. Interesting. As she bathed in the fountains of blood, Koshipi began to cower.
Koshipi hopes everyone just dies. Koshipi doesn't want to kill anyone. Koshipi's sword is acting on its own. But Koshipi should just rely on her sword. Is this the real Koshipi?
I could hear Koshipi's current mental state. Her mind was in total disarray, a total chaotic mess. I lent my shoulder to Koshipi once more and climbed the stairs along with her. Not perturbed at all by the new bodies that she's mounting up. But the very next moment we ran into Masumi-kun and the other DQN coming down the stairs. Shit, these guys again. I bit my lip. Wait, am I seeing shit? What's with all the blood? For a split second, the DQN who spoke was taken aback. But the very next one, Masumi-kun grabbed me by my chest. His face was teeming with fury. Did it. You did it. You fucking killed Monako. Seriously, who the hell was Monako? Noticing my confusion, the DQNs held Masumi-kun back. Just hold it, Masumi. We can't say for sure if they did it or not. I mean, first off, how the hell could 2 people do all that shit alone? All that? They were definitely talking about the slaughter on the roof. Listen close, Esper. I'm not an Fucking can it, shit for brains. I tried to tell him I wasn't an Esper, but he wasn't having any of it. His threat caused me to shrink back. Feeling unbelievably pathetic, I began to wonder if Koshipi would murder everyone here if I wanted her to.
Koshipi can kill them.
No.
Koshipi doesn't want to kill them.
Koshipi's mind was a chaotic mess of conflicting, contradictory emotions.
Koshipi can't kill them. Koshipi should just give in and kill them.
She should just give in. That was one thing I could never do. Get a load of this, Esper. You know your sister, man, with how cute she is. You never know she was related to your ugly ass. Her name's Nanami, right? What? Why the hell did this DQN know about Nanami? So yeah, took it upon myself to show her a little bit of loving all night. Loving all right, not all night. What are you saying? Do I really gotta spell it out for you? The DQN acting far, far too friendly with me, placed his hand on my shoulder. Even though he was a guy. Even though he was a guy, he was covered with the smell of perfume. The smell was so strong it made me want to vomit. So he always fuck around with like 10 other people, killing time for the sake of it. Comes up that we were in the mood to go out and get some, and we got this offer. And you know who was on the menu? Your sister. Offer? Nanami wasn't some fucking object to be offered. What the hell had they done to her? Wait, no, more importantly, who the hell had offered them Nanami? Oh. Guy's name was Darth Spider. All words left me. Guy goes out of his way to approach us, hands over your sister and goes, do what you want with her. Like, damn, ain't that crazy? What a fucking deal. My vision turned bright red. Within my mind, it felt as if blood was boiling. It billowed and bubbled, rising up to my head like magma. What did you do to Nanami? I already told you I showed her a good bit of loving. Oh yeah, she was also missing a hand. Shit must have been... just... Why would he be so cool with this? Shit must have really hurt. I guess the idea is that they're all hypnotized? Is that the idea? This guy's a freak? That had all been real. When I'd come home afterward to check, I hadn't been able to find that damn hand. So that was why. Yo, Masumi, don't leave me hanging. Tell him about all about it. You were there the whole time, after all. Forget that shit. He killed me. Forget that shit. Forget that shit? What the fuck could possibly be more important? My sister is what matters here, you piece of shit. Don't you fucking compare that fucking whorish cunt Monarco to my precious little sister. Oh yeah, that reminds me. We took a real nice photo as a souvenir. Yo, Esper, you want to see? Here, let me show you. I'll fucking kill you. Let's see. Photos. Photos. Oh, there it is. Here you go, Esper. Take a good look. DQN grabbed me by the jaw and forced me to look at the image. The photograph was definitely Nanami. It was definitely Nanami, but... she was covered in blood. Her eyes were hollow. It's got to be a delusion, and she was completely naked. I'll fucking kill you, I'll fucking kill you, I'll fucking kill you, I'll fucking kill you, I'll fucking kill you. Okay, and they're all dead. What? The knife I'd been gripping dug itself deep into the DQN bastard's chest. I brought it with me today just in case I needed it. Apparently I myself had stabbed him. I pulled it out, then stabbed him with it again. And then I did it again. What the fuck? Taku, stop! Shut the fuck up! I pulled it out, then stabbed it back in. Masumi, and you should all die. For what you did to Nanami, you and the goddamn world should all die. I'll kill you all myself. I pulled it out and stabbed it back in, then again, then again. DQN wasn't moving anymore. With his eyes open wide and his mouth drooling blood, he was very much dead. Hey, Kozupi. Kill every last one of them. With a sad look on her face, Kozupi nodded. Her D-sword rose in her hand. It reel-booted with a furious resonant noise, and then Masumi-kun could only stare in shock at the abrupt embodiment of mayhem. What? My god. With a single swipe, Masumi-kun's head was blown clean off. With a sword. She'd swung her sword so violently she'd lost her balance and fell right on her ass. Masumi's collapsing body had fell on top of her, soaking her clothes with blood. Despite looking wholly miserable, she pushed the corpse aside and then she looked at me and smiled.
Takumi-chan killed someone too. Huh.
Was she crying, suffering, or simply smiling? Within her pained smile was a mix of so many different emotions.
Why are there so many enemies? Make it stop.
She was sobbing inside her heart. But it was just as she'd said. We had enemies everywhere. So we had no choice but to kill them. That was what they all deserved. I wasn't the one in the wrong here. Pieces of shit that I'd attacked were. And that is where we'll end it for today. Woo! Wow, things moved fast. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Chaos Head, and I will see you next time where we'll be picking this back up and probably finishing the end of A Disease That Leads to Slaughter. Take care of yourselves. Have a good evening. Bye-bye! Bye-bye-bye-bye-bye!